Speaker is Virginie. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Virginie, Capitaine actually, because I changed name in between. May I have this? Thank you. So I just graduated actually from the ESSEC School of Management, which is a French business school. But before that, I had to do a research project. So I was wondering if I could do something useful, and I contacted Kéroul, and I asked them if I could do the research project for them as a consulting project, and they said yes. So I joined the team in January this year, and I am actually still a part of the team. So what I'll go through with you today is the big issue that came out of my study, which is mainly about information. The why and how's managers. Oh yeah, because I didn't tell you that. My topic was encouraging choice accommodation manager to develop the accessibility of their facilities. Why did I choose that subject? Because when I arrived at Kéroul in January, I saw that still 90% of Quebec tourist accommodation were not accessible to people with disabilities. After 35 years of Kéroul leading actions in Quebec to develop accessible tourism. And I found that quite stunning, and I wanted to find out more about that. So I decided to lead in-depth interviews with managers because I found that in my literature, I found out that there was a lot of research about demand, but not that much about offer. So I found quite interesting to maybe spend some time on the phone with those managers and see how it goes. So yeah, the big issue I will talk to you about is mainly about information. Then I will tell you how can accessibility interest businesses, so please don't leave. And then I'll just go through my action plan, the action plan I submitted to Kéroul. So first of all, I heard a lot of interesting things. Things like, but you want me to be accessible, you want my hotel to be accessible, but accessibility for all is just an illusion. It is not possible. Then I heard, but you know, I already have clients that come and use a wheelchair and there is no problem for them. And I heard also like, yeah, you know, those people always come with a companion and it's of very good help. So I don't need to invest in physical arrangements for those people. So clearly there is a blurry conception of accessibility that needs to be clarified. So this is the why should I invest. Then I asked the managers, is your establishment accessible to people with disabilities? 20% of the people that responded yes were actually wrong. And I could easily figure that out just asking, do you have any stairs at your entrance, or are your doors of standard width? So clearly people were poorly informed about accessibility itself. And in fact, half of my participants told me they had no clue where to find any information about accessibility arrangements. So there is a wrong perception of accessibility, and those people need to be informed. Where is the information? In NGOs, in organisms like Kéroul, like, you know, all organisms fighting for the people living with disabilities' rights. And what we are witnessing right now is a shortfall, because there are people that want to make their hotels accessible, but along the way, and it's a long way to go in the construction process, many things could happen. People rely on governmental bodies. Like in Quebec, here I've been told, yeah, well, I would rely on the Régie du Bâtiment of Quebec, which is the regulation body dealing with the construction sector. yeah, you could rely on their construction code about accessibility, but you could stick to it 100% and still not be accessible. Why? Because it's only about the building. It's not about the organization of furniture. That's the problem. So it's incomplete, and people rely on that because it's a governmental body, and rightly so. Then people would rely on architects or on other trusted professionals like designers, providers, etc. But the thing is, fortunately not for all of them, but the thing is those people are poorly informed as well. So some managers are really have the will but never get to the end of that arrow and are rewarded with a not accessible quote from Kéroul. And this is very frustrating for all parties. Then, how could we interest businesses? Actually, I have quite a few powerful arguments here because I talked to those managers about what would persuade you the most. What argument do you want to hear so that I can make you invest in accessibility? And actually, global economy didn't get a good mark. People want tangible facts. And here, for example, I could tell them, and I told them, that new constructions, well, if you consider accessibility from the beginning, in your new construction or in your major renovations, then it is not it's not that expensive, actually. It's not more expensive, because accessibility is mainly about the organization of space and where to put things, where do you put the plug, etc. So you don't have to pay more, you just have to pay attention to how you do it. Then, accessible rooms went well to all clients. Yes, 60% of my participants said that their clients liked, and I mean all clients, they liked the accessible rooms because they had space. People like rolling showers. Actually, that's what I've been told. Some people actually ask for those rooms even if they don't have a disability. So this is quite a good news. And I've been told also that, well, my accessible rooms are not different from the others. So how could people tell? So I think this is the key here. Then the market of groups is a market that is targeted by a lot of hotels. I mean, hotels near congresses or near hotels willing to organize weddings and things. If you are not accessible, then you just turn your back on groups of maybe dozens of people. Because when a group wants to reserve a hotel, then if it's not accessible for one person, then the whole group is going somewhere else. So this is very powerful, I think, for those managers to tell. Then the use of accessible arrangements is not quantified. By that I mean some managers said, well, I don't see that much disabled people coming into my establishment. Well, first of all, Magnus Berglund said that very well. At noon, 70% of whole handicapped are invisible, yes. So how could you tell that your support bar in your bath is actually useful or not? You cannot. But what we do know is that your ramp at the entrance can be used by families with young children or by the delivery guy. So we do know that it has an enlarged utility. So finally, Kéroul has a solution. I mean by that Kéroul is already well connected between the public and the private sector. It just needs to promote a little more its actions so that people get well informed. Because yes, we have a very good internet website where all the criteria are and where people can get good information about accessibility arrangements. Then we also have the accessible road, which can be of very good use for managers to see that some of their colleagues are doing well, investing in accessibility arrangements. So Kéroul can give a lot of information about accessible arrangements, their necessity, and reassuring facts for those managers. Also, Kéroul would need to be a part of the construction process and an early part of it. It could do that well by cooperating with the city, which is here the entity that delivers the construction contracts or permits, construction permits. Thank you. Because right now Kéroul can just see that establishment. It can evaluate the establishment just now that it's finished, right? So it's a bit too late. So in order to prevent the shortfall we saw earlier, Kéroul would need to be an early part of the construction process. And then Kéroul should advise every actor of the construction chain, such as architects, designers, and providers, so that this shortfall never happen again. So this was a very quick thing about my study, because it's quite long. If you want more information, it is on Kéroul's website under the documentation tab. Unfortunately, it's only in French. I'm sorry. But then if you have any question, I will be more than happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Virginie.